I think we are good to go. We can start right now. Oh. Hello, participants. My name is Atisham, and I'll be moderating this entire session today. Mr. Admin, are we good to go? Can we start the session?
I think you can start the session now. It's okay because many people have joined.
Okay, thank you, Saloni. I welcome everyone to the GKS Scholarship Guide webinar. We would like to thank all the panelists for joining us today to share their experience with our dear GKS aspirants. We would also like to appreciate the level of interest shown by the participants. The response was huge. We got around 425 queries, and ultimately, we have to stop accepting the registration due to limited capacity on the Zoom. I welcome you all who have joined us in the Zoom meeting, as well as those who are watching us live from the YouTube or Facebook. Mr. Admin, can we have the slideshow? Thank you. Indian Overseas Congress South Korea is an official NRI wing of Congress Party in India, intending to serve the NRI community in all walks of life. IOC, Indian Overseas Congress South Korea, is active since 2nd October 2020. It was officially announced on 26 January by 2021 by Sri Sham Pitroda sir. He is the chairman of the Indian Overseas Congress. In South Korea, it is active as a social and cultural group. I would now introduce our chairman of the Indian Overseas Congress, Mr. Sam Pitroda. He is also known as the father of the telecom revolution in India, and he's advisor to former Prime Minister Sri Rajiv Gandhi and Mr. Manmohan Singh. Now I would like to take the opportunity to introduce Mr. Kisly Kumar. Mr. Kisly Kumar holds an MA degree in International Trade from Sogang University, and currently he is working as an international business professional in South Korea for the last 6 years. He is also involved in socio-political activism. Now I would like to invite Mr. Kisly Kumar for a few words with our aspirants and panelists. Mr. Kisly Kumar.
Hello, can you guys hear me now?
Yes, Kisly.
Okay, so thank you, Atisham, for a nice introduction, and thanks to all the panelists for joining and all the students who have joined us from India and also other countries they are staying. My name is Kisly Kumar. I'm the president of Indian Overseas Congress South Korea, and I welcome all of you on behalf of Indian Overseas Congress South Korea. Atisham has already given the introduction about our unit. We are active here in South Korea as a social and cultural group, and we are doing many activities and helping NRIs in different fields of life. We help them in during COVID second wave when their parents and their family members, if they had any trouble, we helped them a lot. And also now, there is a flight issue going on in South Korea. We are helping our people in that issue as well. We have always been helping the students who want to come from India to South Korea for studying for their higher studies. And we have tried to give our best. We have tried to give them the counseling for whatever course they want to do, and whatever for whatever they want to study here in South Korea. Apart from that, we have got a very good team over here today. I would also like to thank all the panelists, the esteemed panelists who have joined us over here. They are all GKS holders. GKS is the Global Korea Scholarship, and I'm sure that every one of you would be getting a very good insight from them in terms of how to apply, which university to choose, how to choose courses, how to write SOPs, etc. And they are smart enough to give to give you the idea of how to initiate these things and how to ensure your entry in Korean universities. Korea is a good place to stay. Whenever you guys come to Korea, please feel free to reach us. Please feel free to reach our team. If you want to reach me personally, you can reach me personally through social media. I'm there everywhere, on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. You can contact me anytime. We are very easily available for you for any help you want. So I give you my best wishes, all the best for your application. And with this, I would like to leave, and I would like to hand over the screen to our moderator of the day, Mr. Etesham. And special thanks to Mr. Etesham as well, because he has been very kind enough for doing all this moderation. Thank you very much. I would be leaving now. Etesham, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kisly. That was a wonderful introduction. So let me first now begin this session by introducing our panelists. First, we have Ms. Bhakti Panchal. Ms. Bhakti Panchal
Hi, everyone.
is a GKS scholar currently studying language training in Busan University of Foreign Studies, and next year will be going to Sogang University for her Master in International Finance. And next panelist we have is Ms. Swarnim Singh. Ms. Swarnim Singh is a KF and GKS scholar, did her undergraduation from JNU and Masters in International Trade from Sogang University. Currently working as digital marketer in South Korean company and also worked with the Korean government.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
Okay. Now we have Mr. Vivek Dimbole ji. He received his MTech degree in mechanical engineering, specialized in CAD/CAM CAE, and researched in IIT Indore, and then worked in IIT Delhi as an associate researcher. Currently, he is pursuing his PhD degree from Inha University, Incheon, South Korea.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you, Vivek ji. Now we have Ms. Sandhya Gumpina. She is a GKS scholar currently doing language training in Jeju Halla University and will be doing masters in aerospace information engineering from Konkuk University.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Ms. Sandhya ji. Next, we have Ms. Jyoti Sihag. Currently, she's attending language school as part of GKS Scholarship at Chonan National University and will be moving to Ajoy University to complete her master's in international business.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
Next, we have thank you, Ms. Jyoti ji. Next, we have Saloni Singh. She is a GKS scholar currently studying language course in Keimyung University and will study MSc in molecular microbiology and biotechnology at Chunam National University.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Okay, now let's begin by, that was the introduction of the panelists we have in our session today. Now let us take the queries that you guys have put forward. We had received a huge amount of queries, and there are some which were repetitive, so we sorted them. And the queries are as follows. The first query I would like to give to, the first query that we have is, one of the aspirant wants to know the difference between the university track and embassy track. which track is better, and can one apply both in university and embassy track? Ms. Bhakti, would you like to answer on that?
Yes. So the difference between a university track and the embassy track first is in the embassy track, you first apply to the embassy and you get 3 options, like to select 3 different universities, wherein in the university track, you directly apply to the university which you want to join. But the disadvantage of university track, I would say, is you only get one option. So if you are very sure that you want to go to a specific university, I would say then only go for university track. The second is which track is better. If you are aiming for Sky University, I would suggest go apply via embassy track, because the embassy tracks recommend that to the university. So the embassy recommendation is really helpful. Also, if there is any professor who is willing to take you in their university, then I would suggest to go with the university track, because you have an advantage there that the professor will directly take you in. The third question is, can one apply in both embassy and university track? Yes, you can apply. In the last 2021 application, there was a instruction given that you can apply, but there is a rule for this. If you apply via embassy track and you don't get selected for the first round, then you have an option to apply to the university track. But you have to check the deadlines for the universities, that the deadlines are not closed. So if any university's deadline is not closed, then you can apply to university track as well. But if you are applying to university first, you can't apply to embassy track. So you can go for embassy first, and then if you don't get selected, you can apply to the university track as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bhakti ji. Ms. Sandhya, would you like to add something to it?
Yeah, I was thinking to tell that the difference between university track and embassy track. So in the university track, there will be like a 3 dot, same as the embassy track. But when it goes to university track, you'll be having an interview in the first round. So many people won't be having an interview. Many people will be having an interview. That doesn't mean you'll be get selected or not. It totally depends on the university. Also, when it goes to embassy track, you'll be having in first round in the MHRD, and then you do remaining rounds. So second round is totally up to the NIED. Don't ask what is the main thing to do, like how to get selected by the NIED or something. No one knows here. Also, it's totally complicated. So you don't need to ask the panelist or someone who is GKS scholars, like how did you get selected in the NIED round? So it's rude. And then when you apply through the university track, it's totally up to you whether you contact the professor or not. So if you contact the professor, it will be more uses you have. And then embassy track too. If you contact the embassy professors, before you applying to the university, if you contact any professor which is willing to work, so you can ask them for the interview during the first round in the university track. So I say both tracks are the best, but due to comparing to the seats, university has more. So think wisely before you applying to the universities. Also, when you're applying to the universities, check also about the acceptancy rate of university, QR rating of the university, and then think about the major which you can. Also, some universities don't accept if your bachelor's is different in the and undergrad, major master's is different. So these are the things you need to check before you applying the university track and embassy track. So you can, as Bhakti said, you can apply for both embassy and the university track, but only if you're not selected in the embassy track. That's all.
Thank you, Sandhya. Now we'll take the next question. Some of our aspirants wants to get some tricks on how to write SOP and personal statement. I think it's a very important part of getting some admissions in university. So I would like to call on Mr. Vivek. Would you like to answer on writing, how to write a good SOP and personal statement for admission purpose?
Yeah, thank you, Autism, for asking me this question. So first, I will give you some brief point about the SOP. Then I will show you some GKS sample of the SOP. Then I will show you the sample format of best SOP. So you can be the person that who can write the best SOP for the GKS. So now I can tell you the which point are necessaries. First, the SOP is what? SOPs need to be supportive for your study. What is your study plan? What is your goal? And what do you want to do and what you did? These things cover in SOP. SOP is not your extracurricular activities and not these things. SOP cover your study purpose and what will you do and what your background in that study area. So for that, I want to share my screen. So I can show you first GKS format, then I will show you the some good format in that you can understand. So I am sharing my screen. Yeah, can you guys see my screen? Yeah. So in the statement of purpose, you has to write like this is some sort of format of language. Like you have a some for the GKS, you need to be a strong background of language. If you have any good background of any language, that will be good. So that you can write. But the main part is the goal of study and the detail of study plan. Like what is your background in that study area? Like suppose some person is from a biology background or from a management background. So he can tell about his study background of current study area. Then he can go like under which professor, or under which university, or under which is the interest area, and that he can make in the first step, goal of study and plan, his background and his study area, and why he's interested in that area, in that university, or suppose in the professor's field, on whatever he wants to be targeted. Now in future plan, after making the background in the first step, he can tell when he will come in the Korea in the GKS scholarship, what will he give the benefit under that plan. So what is the future scope of that plan, and how will he cover that plan? Like it is his step by step, he can make 3 to 4 point in his mind and in his or her mind, and cover all that point for as a future aspect. So in that way, I just show you one sample. So I can show you one sample of best SOP. So this I have got the best SOP at that my time in 2020. Now I think it's also best at that time, so you can get some idea. So first you have to write some information, like what are you doing, what is your background, like what study background. This is not about the other background, only study. Then you can get your achievement in study. Now this second or third paragraph come, what is your area of study? What is your area of study? The specific area which you want to cover in the coming universities, like 2 or 3 universities, or you're planning by embassy, or you are going by university track. So you can cover that area which are you are focusing, and you can mention some professor's name if you know. That will be good if you are applying for university track, and if you contacted before the professor. Then past work, if you want add first paragraph, that is okay. If you want to elaborate it somehow it here, that is okay. Now you come at the last, how will you going to be benefit of that area in the future? In the 2 or 3 and the 4 to 8 line, you can cover that point. So that will is all about SOP. SOP is just for the SOP is just for your study purpose plan. So you need to write background, think about that, then plan of that background. Then you need to cover its future aspect with relating your study to current professor or current university goal. So that is all about. So making the SOP, you need to think in mind, you need to plan, and after writing it, you need to verify by some persons, and making the draft in 2 to 3 times will be the best SOP. Like you cannot make one time and make it the fixed is a final. So you have to make it a 3 to 4 time and reread to the other person who don't know your field. You just try to read so he can understand your English or not, because in Korea, if you're writing in English, that need to be understand they are understanding and not your English, because maybe your English high level or low level. So it needs to be right. And after that, you need to go some person who can understand your SOP. So that is the first criteria and the first main thing, because whatever you are writing, they need to understand it. So in that terms, SOP is the more beneficial. So make a draft and reread it, and after 3 to 4 times, the draft will be final. So that I want to conclude about SOP. And for personal statement, I just want to tell the like personal statement. In this case, you have the form 8. So in that case, you can cover your like what is your motivation, what is your study area, and what is your background, and how will you go to Korea, and what will you study. So I think in the personal statement, Swarnim ji will cover more in later. So I cover the SOP. All. Thank you, Atisha.
Thank you, Vivek, Mr. Vivek. That was a very comprehensive answer to the question of SOP. Ms. Swarnim, would you like to add something on this thing?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for, first of all, inviting me to this webinar. And I would like to share my opinion about how to write SOP. So as you are all aware, I got 2 scholarships in Korea, and I wrote the SOP, and that got selected in the first attempt. So I am just sharing my opinion. Everyone has their own style of writing. So don't think that, okay, I have told you, so you have to follow this. Just take the tips and write however you want. So I will be sharing my screen so that you have, okay, so let me first tell you about personal statement. So as you see this form, there are some points which are mentioned. So when it comes to GKS scholarship, you have to follow these points. However, if you're writing for any other scholarship like KF or any other which doesn't has these kind of points, then you can always, write as you want. But if you write keeping these points in your mind, that will also be a good SOP. So when you write a SOP, what do you think? The person who is going to read your SOP is the person who doesn't know you, right? So if someone is reading my SOP, he should be convinced that I am a very good person and I am good at studies, I am good in extracurricular activities, and probably this person will be able to perform well if selected in comparison to other students. So you have to sell your personality in this SOP. So talking about how to start a SOP, I have seen many people starting their SOP with a proverb. So let me tell you, this is quite common when you apply in Western countries, but when you apply in Korea, I think it is not mandatory. So it's better that you start with the points you want to mention in the SOP. Straight to the point, you can start with it. So just wanted to give you an idea that you shouldn't write that I am a K-pop lover and I have been watching K-dramas and crazy about Korea, and that is why that is my motivation to apply for this program. So if you write this is going to be very lame. They're not going to select you. So better write something which shows that you're very interested in this program. So what can be your motivation? You have to think and you have to write it and get it checked by many people, as Vivek Thimole said. So just don't write it by yourself and assume that, okay, this is perfect. And don't use very fancy words because as you know, Korea is a country which is a non-native English speaking country. So if you write very fancy words, you don't even know the meaning of those words, you're just writing because they are fancy words, then that is not going to help you. So people want to see something which is basic yet able to impress the person who is reading your SOP. So you start with your introduction, obviously, because you are telling about yourself to a person who doesn't even know you. So you have to tell your name. Okay, I'm so, I come from this place, and I come from a middle class family. You don't have to write, okay, I'm poor, that is why I want this scholarship. They're not going to help you. So you can write that, okay, I come from a middle class family and I experienced these kind of problems while growing up. So through this experience, I gained these kind of experiences, and that helped me develop my personality. So this is something which you can show, that you had these kind of struggles, and through this struggle you have inculcated something in your personality, and it has developed your personality. So that is something which would really impress the person who is reading your SOP, that you have gone through the struggle and you know how to overcome that. So this is one point which I would like to mention. And the next thing is that you have to mention about your education and the work experience, right? So whatever you have been doing, you have to mention, like about your undergraduate or maybe your high school. So it's okay, even if you're changing your major. For example, I changed my major several times. So don't think that, okay, I'm changing my major, they might not select me. It's not true. I have changed my major thrice. So take me as an example. You have to convince them that why you are changing the major and what makes you able to be able to perform well when you change to a different major. For example, I changed from Korean language and literature to international trade, but I had to tell them like how I can relate my education background to what I want to pursue in future. For example, this is not about GKS, I wrote something else, but in my KF scholarship SOP, I wrote that this is, I think now it's very common, so don't write about this, but I'm just telling about my experience. So I wrote that India and Korea have a very similar historical background. Like, we were under the rule of Britishers. Similarly, Korea was under the rule of Japanese. So we have, and we also have, when you try to learn Korean language, there are several similarities, and that, drew my attention towards learning the language, and learning it made me more interested in learning it. And I decided that I want to improve my language by learning it with natives. So that is why I'm interested in studying in Korea. So this is the point which will immediately impress the person who is reading your SOP. Okay, this person has tried to learn language, but she was not probably getting all the environment to learn the best of the Korean. So that is why she wants to come to Korea and learn it well, because whenever you want to learn a language, it's best to learn with the natives, right? So this is something which you can include, like which is very practical, yet it's very if a person reads it, he or she will know that, okay, this is something which she wants to do, and she has very much related to it. So, and even though I changed my major, I mentioned, okay, I was doing well in this major, yet I want to change my major to this major. Why? Because my future plan is this. While doing this and this, I realized that my inclination is towards this. So that is why I thought that I should like do this. And also try to, if you are applying in some any other major, like a different major, try to get some certificates or maybe internship that will help you, because that will show that okay, she had a very different major, but now she's trying to get some kind of work experience, and she's working towards it before applying in the scholarship. So it will help. And if you don't have, it's okay, not mandatory. Okay, so the next point is reason for studying in Korea. So again, it's your personal reason. You have to tell it by yourself. And reason, Yeah, that is your personal reason. I cannot explain that. The last thing is that any other aspects of your backgrounds and interests which may help you evaluate your aptitude and passion for graduate study or research. So in this case, that you can always mention some extracurricular activities which are related to your major you are going to pursue in Korea. So for example, you're doing some kind, you are pursuing international trade, then you can mention about some kind of internship you have done, or maybe some online courses you have done, and what you learned through it. You just don't write one sentence, okay, I did it this, then this. That wouldn't be impressive. But if you write that, okay, I did this, and through doing this, I learned this, and it will help. It cleared my basics about trade, and now I think I'm more confident in pursuing this major when in Korea. So this is how you can write. And so if you're this is for major masters or PhD maybe. So if you are applying from after high school, so maybe you can mention that you were school captain, if you were actually, or maybe class monitor. So in that case you can say, okay, I was class monitor, and I was good at sports. Done. This is not going to help you. If you write, okay, I was a class monitor or the school captain, and I faced these kind of situations, and how I overcame them. So this can be, a good thing to write. So always try to take out some kind of learning from what you're writing. And another thing is that don't write randomly. For example, you're writing about I am from a middle class family, and then you start writing about your extracurricular activities. Oh, I am good at sport, and then again you come back that, okay, my siblings have helped me like this. So if you just keep writing it randomly, it would not be a good thing. So try to write it in a good flow. Like first you talk about your family, and then you come back to extracurricular activities. So just complete one topic and then move on to the other topic. So this is how you can write person statement. And as far as a statement of purpose is concerned, Vivek Tumole already explained you, but I just want to add on to it when it comes to goal of study and study plan, because here, okay, so this is an old form. I think the first one is that you have to talk about your language plan. So in that case, you can always mention, like, when you are in the language training, what are you going to do? You are going to, take the classes, and you're going to interact with your classmates in Korean, obviously, to improve your language and go out and meet Korean friends. And the best thing is there is a language exchange program in Korea. So you can go there, teach Koreans English, and they will teach you Korean. So this is how you can write something. Or maybe you can write, like, I will be preparing for topic exam, and this is my plan, how I'm going to prepare for topic, something like that. And when it comes to study plan, obviously that is your personal, because I cannot comment. I don't know which major you want to pursue. And again, the future plan, you don't have to write something which is very unrelated. For example, I am going to pursue international trade, but then I'd write that my future plan is to become a civil servant in my country. So this is something not related. So I think that wouldn't be very impressive. So probably write something which is related. If you write, I'm going to pursue my major in Korean language and literature, but I'm going to become like something very unrelated, maybe, and I want to become a model, something like this. So it's like something very unrelated. So why are you pursuing this major if you want to become a model, right? So this is what they're looking for. Even if you're lie in a way that makes them feel, okay, so after doing this course, you are going to do this. Just write it. It's okay. Even if you don't follow, it's not mandatory. Just write what is connected to your major. Something, your future plan should be always connected with what you're going to pursue in Korea. So this was all from my side, and I think it was very long. So sorry for taking so much of time. So now I would like to request the moderator to ask another questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Swarnim. I think that would help a aspirant who want to apply for GKS Scholarship. The next thing that we have is about the documents. A lot of people are asking which documents to submit and where to get it apostle, these kind of things. And many of the colleges don't have clear instructions. So the third query that we have is, what are the documents required to get apostilled? And this is the first part. The second is where I can get it apostilled. And they want to know the difference between the document being notarized and the document being apostilled. So I would like to call on Miss Saloni. Would you like to answer on that?
Yeah, sure. Like few days before, NEED released one notice, which is new this year. So like I would like to show you that notice, which says like what you need to apostille and what you don't need to apostille. So this is the notice. So here you can see that they told that they need 3 documents which should be apostilled, which shows that proof of citizenship, certificate of graduation, and academic transcript. For like the form will be released in February for graduate students. So they want these 3 documents apostilled. So now many students ask that can they submit different documents or like notarized documents. So notarized documents are the documents, like I will tell you in simple language that notarized documents can't be accepted outside India or outside your country. You need to apostille it to be accepted in South Korea. Apostillation is necessary, but earlier universities used to accept the notarized documents, like the regional universities usually they accept. But now since NEED has released a notice, so now it's compulsory for everyone to apostille the documents. For proof of citizenship, like earlier students used to submit their parents Aadhaar card or PAN card or like that, if their university is accepting. Not all universities accept the Aadhaar card and everything. They need passports, and last year they told to make birth certificates. So many of the students didn't submit, but as my experience, I submitted my parents birth certificate and mine also I made it. So I didn't notarize it, neither apostille it, because it had a scan code. So if they scan the birth certificate scan code, they can verify it themselves. But now you need to like apostille it, like see here it's written like birth certificate or family register certificate. You need to apostille it. So where to go to apostille? So if you go by yourself, it's a very lengthy process and it will cost you very much. But if you go through via an agent, like I did for myself, like for me it costed per document 1200, which was the cheapest I got. I searched it on Google and I got it apostille. And for the graduation certificate and transcript also, you need to ask to your university to give you transcript, which they will like they have to prepare it. They will take 1 week or 2, and they will also like ask you money for it. So that also you need to apostille. And in India, apostillation is first done on the original document, and then if you want a copy, you need to send a copy, because you can't submit your original document. NEED is not going to give you back your original document. So first you need to like apostille your original document, and then you can photocopy it, which should be a color photocopy, and it should have the apostille stamp and also the everything in your transcript and graduation certificate. And then you need to notarize and send it to South Korea, because you don't have to send your original document. And if you want to send the apostille only, then you need to first apostille your original document, and then you need to do color copy, make a true copy of it, and then you need to apostille that copy also, and then which would cost you more. So the cheapest way is to apostille your original document, do a color copy, get a true copy stamp on that, and then notarize it and send it to South Korea. So this is the best way according to me. If you want to go the costly way, you can also do that. So I would like to finish it here.
Thank you, Ms. Saloni. I hope that would help the aspirant who wants to get a GKS scholarship. The next query that we have is about the GPA or percentage, or what is GPA conversion system. So the next query is like explain GPA or percentage, and does one has to change his or her percentage into GPA? Mr. Vivek, would you like to answer on this question?
Yes, Atisam.
Yeah.
So there is in the guideline of GKS, they mentioned about 100-point scale, 4-point scale, 5-point scale, 4.3 scale. So if you have a percentage, you can submit the percentage, no matter. But if you want to convert the GPA, grade point average, so you can convert that anytime. So the conversion of percent into GPA, if you want to see, I can show you by sharing my screen. So I want to show you because I checked the question as Atisam asked me, it is somehow how to convert GPA into percentage. So I will suggest the current participant, because they belong to us, please convert. If you want to convert percent into GPA, please convert by 4 scale, because if you have a low percentage also, the GPA will be good, because in the criteria 2.67 something they can accept after in the 4. So I will my recommendation is to convert in the 4 GPA scale. So now I will show you the conversion factor. So you can see my screen here. If you have a percentage here, 80%, divide by 100 and cross it by 4 into 4 scale. If you want to convert in by 5 scale, then make it percentage, divide by 100 into 5. This is a 5 scale. In the 100-point scale, you have already the percentage. If a 10-point scale is depend on university, you have to multiply by percentage by GPA into the 9.5, 9.7 or 10. If you multiply it by 10, the percentage will be higher. If you convert by 10-point scale GPA into percentage, so make sure that what is your university criteria. So if there is no criteria, then just multiply by 10, so your percentage will increase. So that is how a brief in the conversion sector. And one more thing I want to add, as I suggested, try to make the 4 scale. And if you do not want to convert, there is no need to convert, because as per the guideline, there is a different scale we have. 4 scale, 4.3 scale, 4.5 scale, 5 scale, 100 scale. If you have a percentage, you can show percentage, no problem. But if you have a suppose 10-point scale and you want to convert it percentage, like suppose you have a 8.2 GPA, CGPA, because in India they say CGPA, cumulative grade point average, and semester wise they give SGPA. So you have to show the all cumulative. So in the CGPA, you can check the scale, as I say, 9.5 and 9.7. Then you can multiply that. It will become the percentage. So it will easy. If there is no criteria, then you can just multiply by 10. It will become your percentage. If that is more than 80, that is sufficient. If suppose you have a percentage you want to convert, then you can check his criteria. And my recommendation is go for 4 scale if you want to GPA, because it makes you under the category. If you convert with 5 scale, it may be sometimes it's happened at the lower scale cannot become under 5 scale or 4.5, but it can become in 4 scale. So take care about that. And there is a no cheating. If you do like that, there is a no cheating, because scale covers a percentage between like 83% and 85% is same in the scale manner. So sometimes it's happen 0.2, 0.4, you can come under the category. So check that carefully and try to make with 4 scale if you want to go with GPA. Okay, that is all about I want to say the conversion, and I hope I cover the whole idea about that. Thank you, Adesam.
Query. The next query is Korean language knowledge required before applying? And language training, like topic 3 is still allowed to take language training or not? So this question, I think, Sandhya, would you like to answer this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the Korean language required before applying? Actually, not true, because anyways, you're going to learn Korean language for 1 year, unless if you have topic 5. So it would be better if you started learning before. So when I first came here, I didn't learn anything. So it's so hard for people who is with me already learned before. So it is a little bit easier to learn for them. So I prefer you guys to study. There is many courses available in Coursera for free by Yonsei University, and then Udemy Academy, they also have the courses available. You can also study for free in Coursera, but if you wanted to buy a certificate, you can buy in the end. So that will be useful for you to show the interest in Korea. Yeah, even if you have a topic 3, I think you need to get topic 5 if your university asks for it. So even here, many people still has topic 3 by the time they come, but still they're doing their topic 5 till topic 5. So it's totally up to the NIED to decide whether you do it or not. That's all. If you have any doubts about this, you can just comment there. We can answer later.
Thank you, Sandhya. The next query that we have is about the submission of provisional degree. Is the submission of provisional degree sufficient at the time of application? Like some students, when they are graduating, they don't have the original certificate, but the college gives them a provisional certificate. So I think the question is related to that. Mr. Vivek, would you like to answer this?
Yeah, thank you, Atisam.
Okay.
Actually, the provisional degree can be submitted at the time of submission, and for original degree submission, they give you time, like they give you 3 to 4 months. Like suppose the deadline is 31st August to submit the original degree. If you're submitting document in March or February, so there is a definitely there's a deadline like 31st June, 31st August, 31st July for submission of original degree. So you are make sure that your degree will come, original degree will come after 2 or 3 a month or 4 month. Then you can tell the college or embassy or university there's no problem. So you can submit first provisional degree, because that provisional degree is just a copy of your original degree. So there is no worry about that. First you submit the provisional, then you later in the deadline time you can submit the original degree certificate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vivek. The next question that we have was to some aspirant would like to know some tips regarding how to get selected in SKY universities. So Swarnim, can you just give them some tips how to get selected in SKY?
Okay, so to be honest, there is no tip for getting selected in SKY, because they select you on the basis of your marks, on the basis of your SOP, and of course on the basis of the certificates you have. And also sometimes it depends on your luck. So there's no particular tip I would like to tell you. Just write your SOP well and make sure you have as many certificates as you have, it can be possible. And the other thing is that because in Korea, they love it if you have high marks. So that is most important. If you have more than 90, because forget about 80%, because in GKS, it is written that you should have at least 80% to be able to apply. If you have less than that, you should be at least in the first 20% of the your class. But for example, you have 85% and you are applying, and they also have a profile of a person who has 95%. What do you think they will select? Whom would they select? Obviously, they will not have a look at the profile of a person who has 85%, because they see there's a huge difference between the two. So they will definitely go for 95%. And in Korea, I will say marks is really very important. Because that is the only criteria they can decide. They are not going to take your interview while selecting the documents. So when they're selecting the documents, they will look at the marks, and then they will look at the SOP. So make sure that you have more marks when you're applying, or you have a very good, well-written SOP and a lot of certificates that will definitely help you in getting through this scholarship, no matter whichever university you have selected, even if it is in SNU, Korea University, or Yonsei University. That is the only thing that will matter, because many people want to apply in the topmost universities of Korea, so the competition is high. So that is why they will select the person who has the highest marks and obviously good certificates. So that is all I wanted to say from my end.
Thank you. Okay. The next query that we have from our aspirants is, can we write exam in English or only Korean is allowed when in Korea? Bhakti, would you please answer on that question?
Yes. Regarding this, if you apply for a major whose mode of language is 100% English, then you don't need to worry, your exam will be in English. However, if you select a major whose mode of language is 50% English, 50% Korean, or 100% Korean, then it depends upon the professor. So few of my friends here, they have already contacted the professor. Some of them have got the permission to write their exams in English, but some don't. So it depends upon the professor. If your professor agrees that you can write your exams in English, then it's really good. So everything depends upon the professor or the department.
Okay. Thank you, Bhakti. I hope that answers the question. The next query we have is, how can we select a university? Ms. Saloni, would you like to guide on this?
Yeah. So there's not any specific way to select the university. It totally depends upon you. But like what I would suggest is that when you apply, when the notice comes, there's a Excel file in which all the university names and all the departments which that university offers, and it comes under GKS. You can find it there. So in that, like, not all the departments, and like, see here, this is the like file which you will get when you download it, and it covers everything, like which university, what course, and which, like, for masters or for doctors, like everything you can get here. So you have to decide and you have to choose on your own. So now, like, people ask that I belong to embassy track, so which university I would choose, and I belong to university track, so what? So according to me, if you are embassy track, as like previous scholars also said before, like if you are in embassy track, and you can go for Sky universities, it's easier than in university track, because in university track you will only apply to one university and it would be Sky University, then it's harder for you. So go for, like, from embassy track, go for Sky universities, and like choose subjects related to your field. It's not compulsory for your, like, subjects to be completely same in all the three universities in embassy track. It can be related, but it should not be like totally different. It should be like my subject is like biotechnology, so in one university I choose biotechnology, in other university I choose microbiology, and in the third university I choose like zoology or botany something. So it's related, so I can do that. It's not compulsory that I choose biotechnology in all the three universities. So you have to, like, go through that file, because if you go to that university website, not all the departments are included in GKS. So I would tell you and suggest you that go through this file and then select your university. Don't go through the websites on, like, university websites, because all the departments doesn't come under GKS. So that's the method you can do that.
Thank you. I hope that will help the people who have joined. So the next question that we have, I would say the query is, is about the letter of recommendation. Okay, so what is the number of copies and from whom to get it done, the letter of recommendation? Is it possible to take the letter of recommendations from some Korean professor? Mr. Vivek, would you answer on that?
Yeah, thank you, Atisam. Yeah, letter of recommendation is actually the background of you can be defined by some professional activation person. So like your professor, like your work boss, any person who knows value can give you letter of recommendation. It can be Korean professor, it can be Korean industrial person, it can be the boss of any place, India, Korea, USA, anywhere, but it should be known to you. So in the letter of recommendation, there is changing how much you have to give, like 1 or 2, but in the university track, you have to send the 1, and the embassy track for only one copy. But in the for the embassy track, you need to send the 4 copy plus the form. In the university track, 1 copy plus 1 form, and the original copy it should be. And that need to be envelope, and it should be signed by your seal and signed by your recommendee person. So that doesn't matter who are taking you. You need to take that the person who knows you and who can give you better early recommend, who can give you a relationship. Like in the letter of recommendation, you need to give he need to give relationship with you, like how he belongs to you. If he has, suppose you are a professor or he has a boss of industry, he can show he is my employee or he is my student. Like he needs to first define your relationship with him, then he can make your skills. Like if you're taking some, like in the question they say some Korean professor, if there is some Korean professor, he can define his relationship, like he attended my online class, or he knows me by email, or he just knows me in some conference, like that. So there is a no matter, you can take anyone, just define the relationship. Then he can introduce your skills, like what is your skills, how can you work in the difficult time, how can you work in the different country, different domain, in the different subject, on your particular subject. This is a make your skills. Then recommend for the applying of GKS. Why he is applying for GKS, that's why I'm recommending him. So that's the important in the LOR. So that all cover the LOR, and you can take anywhere, that is not matter. You need to take some any authority, and that, but it should be it's a good place, then it will be good. So you can take college, university, or any other industry person, or anywhere work experience place, but it should be known by you, because they can call anytime, and suppose they want to verify, they can verify. If he will or she will say, yes, I gave them, that is okay. So if the some industry or college you are taking, it is well known in Korea, that will be very good. So that is all about the LOR. So I hope it is understandable for everyone. Thank you, Atisam.
Thank you, Mr. Vivek. I think that would help. Ms. Jyoti would like to give some more input on the same question. Ms. Jyoti, would you like to say something else? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thank you. About the letter of recommendation, thank you, Vivek, for such an insight. I just wanted to point out that why it would be better if you collected from a professor instead of your manager or someone you work with professionally, because I think personally the letter of recommendation should reflect your academic personality or characteristics, and a professor you have already worked with would know that aspect of your life perfectly. Also, it would be beneficial to you if you can get a letter of recommendation from a professor you worked with while working on your major project. So that way you can show that this kind of commitment was for a long time. On the second hand, if you are if unable to collect it from a professor and want to collect it from a manager or a professional person you're working with, I would suggest that if you have a connection right from your graduation days, or your like right after graduating you joined this company, they would know that you had the potential right from the beginning and your academics were perfect. So your letter of recommendation should reflect how good of a student you are, because you are coming here to study. So that's how it should be covered. So it's better if you collect it from a professor, I think. That's all.
Thank you, Jyoti. Yeah. Okay, so I think that answers the query. So now we have another query that how can I make my application stand out? What mistakes, this is the first part, and the second part is what mistakes or must not to do things during the application. Swarnim, can you answer on that one? The query that the students asked is how can I make my application stand out? And what mistakes or must not to do things during the application?
Okay, so as I already explained before while explaining about the SOP, so most of the points were covered. But the other thing I would like to mention is like, don't lie. Whatever you is true, just write that. You don't have to lie. Because I know one person who lied. She went to Korea before, and in her SOP, she mentioned that she has never been to Korea. And that is why she was not selected. The reason that the Korean government, this scholarship is offered by the Korean government, they have every detail of you if you have visited Korea. So if you lie, they will know. So Koreans don't like if you're dishonest. Nobody actually likes if you're dishonest. So don't lie, right? Whatever is true, and stick to the basic. Don't use very fancy words, as I said before. And yes, you can explain, as I mentioned in the SOP, that write what you learned from a process, like how it helped develop your personality and how you can contribute in the future. Don't write that, okay, don't write very exaggerated form. Like, for example, you are going to say that, okay, after doing this major, I want to improve relations between India and Korea. So do you have a plan about that? You have to write it down. If you don't have a plan, then don't just write that, okay, after doing this major, I would be able to improve the relations. How would you be able to improve? You have to write that. And if you think that if you're going to write that, I would be able to improve the relations by doing this and that, which is very imaginative, that is not going to help. So don't write those kind of things. It's better not to write that thing. So try to avoid writing this, and rest is all on how you write your SOP. So yes, this is from my side.
Okay, thank you, Swarnim. The next query that I would take is, I think, Vivekji, would you like to answer on this? That the query is, students not from JNU or DU get selected? Means, can the students from other universities get selected?
Yeah, definitely. Students from other university can select it. We say like that JNU and DU are mostly selected because if we check the rank wise that IITs, GU and JNUs are high ranked, that's why people says like that, but it's a myth. It is a true somehow 50%, but not as like 100% true. When the application checked, they check many things. They check your background previous. If you have a 90%, 85%, definitely they will give preference to you. So do not worry about that if you are from different university. But fact is fact. But for that fact, you need not to worry. If you have a good percentage, good SOPs, good background, and you have a good experience, then you will definitely select. There is a many persons from other universities can get select. So there is no need to worry that only the university or like DU, GNU, IIT is getting select. So do not need to worry. Just focus on your documents, proper planning, and try to get, if you think a university embassy track is difficult, then you try to think about a university track, try to contact with professors if you are thinking like that. So everything is not difficult. It's a kind of just a mind myth that you think like that. So give your best, definitely you can achieve. So do not need to worry. If you think you are for this, then you need to go. That's it. Just read the guideline and go for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vivek.
Okay, I just wanted to add on to this because it's written actually in the guidelines mentioned that people from central universities are given more preference. But in the case of clash, like for example, there are two profiles which are equally good.
Yeah. Same profile.
Yeah, so in that case, central university would be definitely given higher preference. But don't worry, because I know a lot of people who are not from JNU. Even though I am from JNU, but there are so many people who are not from the JNU and not from DU. Just apply with positivity and good luck. We wish you good luck.
Yeah, definitely.
To Korea. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
sure.
all.
Okay, thank you. The other query that we have is work experience required before applying for the MBA? Jyoti, would you like to answer on that?
Yes. So a lot of people think that work experience is mandatory when applying to business majors. I would say it is definitely beneficial. I switched my major from engineering to international business, and I had to provide a reason how I came to a conclusion that I wanted to pursue my master's in business studies. So, if you already are studying any major related to business studies, I don't think moving to master's or higher degrees would require work experience. But when you think of changing your major, that's when the work experience really counts. That's where you show that working with clients or actual customers, or working in an environment where your business skills were required, made you interested in applying for MBA or this particular major. So I would say it's not mandatory, or it doesn't give you a bigger percentage of advantage over another student. But if you have work experience while applying for MBA, that definitely counts. Yeah.
Thank you. Swarni, would you like to add something on that? Or is it okay?
Okay, I think Jyoti already covered
Okay.
everything, so we
Okay.
will skip.
Next is what are the interview for? They want some tips for the interview questions. Swarni, can you answer on that?
Okay, so when it comes to interview, you don't have to worry about it, because they're not going to ask you many technical questions. For me, they did not ask me anything about international trade. They just asked me if you would be able to survive in Korea, and why did you apply in Korea? And I've heard that some of the people from your university were not doing well. So would you be able to perform well? So I said, you cannot judge a person on the basis of other person, right? So if you see my academic background, then you will see that I've always performed well. So I will definitely perform well. So this is how you answer them if they try to, pull you down. So be confident, answer them. They will not ask you very tough questions. They are not going to ask you technical details, especially if you're changing your major. If you're changing your major, they might ask you why you're changing your major. They never asked me. And just be prepared with the reason why you're changing your major, and be confident. That's it. They're not going to ask you many technical questions.
Okay. There are a lot of questions coming in from the chat box also, so I would take some of those also. Okay, so one of the questions is, I'm having some 80 percentage less, I'm having some percentage less than 80%. Will I get selected as my college is also not providing me top 20% certificate? But many scholars from India does get into it GKS without showing 20% certificate. Saloni, would you like to answer on that?
Yeah. In GKS, like, this is the eligibility criteria, that you need to have 80%, and if you don't have 80%, you need to submit a rank certificate which shows that you come under top 20% of your class or university students. So it's not right to not follow the criteria which is given by the government, Korean government need. So, but since I, like, maybe earlier some people used, because I also heard that, like, some people, one person got selected who had only 62%. But like from now, GKS is getting very competitive and it's very hard. Now more and more people are applying and it's getting very hard to get into GKS. So it's very important to get good marks, because the first thing they see is your marks, and then like your extra activities and everything. So either you need to have 80% or either you need to have 20% rank certificate. But since like if you still want to apply, you can just try. Maybe your luck is good and you get into GKS, but it's very hard because even 90% students, the students who are getting 9 CGPA out of 10 and other things, they are also not getting selected. So if you are still applying, I would say that since you have a drawback of getting less marks, so you can just make other things in your profile good, which would be like writing good SOP, write good personal statement, having more extra activities, having like make other things very strong. If you are weak in this part, I would say that, because this is the eligibility criteria and you're not fulfilling it. So you can give a try.
Okay. Thank you. There's one more questions like, transcripts is like eight. Saloni, would you like to answer on the same?
Yeah.
Transcript is like eight pages long. Should I apostle each page or just one page, like the first and the last one is sufficient? And also, what is the after how many times does it become invalid or expires the transport apostle?
For the apostille, like in India, the expiry date is for 6 months. If you apostille today, it will be valid to the next 6 months. But after that, it expires. So you need to apostille again. So don't think that you will apostille now and you will keep the document and next year when you apply, you will give. No, you need to keep this in mind that apostillation in India is only valid for 6 months. And related to like the other question, which is, what was it?
They have to apostle the first page or the last page only, or
Yeah. So as far as I know, the transcript is like one document which covers all of your semester or year marks. Like I think you are telling about, like, if it's 8 pages, then it's your semester marks. Transcript is a different thing. In that transcript, you get everything in one document. So like it's very, if you go with that 8-page document, you need to apostille all the 8 pages. So how will you do that? As I have my transcript now also, and I had 6 semesters, so I am having all the semester marks, which is 6 pages. That is my semester marks, and I am having a transcript in that all the 6 semester marks is given in only one document, and it's a one document which is very long, but it's only one. So that's a record of your whole course. So I think like you are confused between transcript and the mark sheets or the semester marks you get.
Babu, sanitizer de do.
Okay. Thank you. There's one more question which I would like to take. 1 second. Okay. I wanted to start with a code. Oh no, not this one. Okay. Due to COVID, my whole undergraduate is done via online mode, and I do not have any research or published paper. So what are the chances of getting selected via university track, or should I apply through an embassy track? Who would like to answer that?
Yeah, Atisam.
Vivek sir, okay.
Okay. So if they are applying for master's or PhD, it is not mentioned.
They have done their undergraduate in COVID.
Okay. So they are applying for masters. Okay. Yeah. So the question is related to somehow they have no research paper. He has or she has no research paper. Is that? Yeah. Yes. So in the master's term, if there is no research paper and you studied online, that does not matter, because nowadays every university is going online only. So if you have fulfilling the criteria of GKS, then you can definitely apply, and the chance of getting selected is also the same as other students. So do not need to worry. And for masters, there is not much need to give the research paper. If you have, that is good. But for PhD, if you have 1 or 2, that is okay. So that is all about the that question's answer.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
like to add on to this. For masters, as Vivek said, that you don't need it, because even I did not write any thesis. And also for my master's course, I did not write a thesis, because we have an option of writing a thesis or taking extra courses. So I took extra courses. So even if you're applying for PhD, it's not mandatory to have
Yeah,
a research
right.
paper, but if you have, that's good.
That will be benefit.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay, I will take 2 to 3 more questions. The next is that if we are changing majors and want to do masters in Korean language, what internships and extra things we can add to increase the chances? Bhakti, would you like to answer on that? If we are changing majors and want to do masters in Korean language, what internships and extra things we can add to increase the chances? Would you like to answer on that, or should I transfer to someone else?
I'm not sure about the Korean language because it's not like I'm
Oh, okay, no problem.
Okay, maybe I can answer this. Can you please repeat the question, because I just want to make sure that I'm and understood it clearly.
If we are changing majors and want to do masters in Korean language, what internship and extra things we can add to increase the chances?
Okay, first of all, if you're directly taking your masters in Korean language, then they will definitely not select you, because you don't have background knowledge of Korean. In order to do your masters in Korean language, you need to know Korean language. So for that, I will request you to do your Korean language training, get topic at least level 5, because when you are into masters in Korean language and literature, you will be having classmates who are Korean. The professor will teach you in Korean and will not consider you as a foreigner. He will keep on talking in Korean and very fast, and you will not understand the word if you are not having advanced level Korean. So make sure you are having topic level at least 5. And I would rather say get level 6. Even level 6 is, not, is, I don't know, pujo khada. So is not sufficient. So make sure you are good in Korean language. Only then I will recommend you to go for masters in Korean language. Or if you have done some kind of, undergraduate in Korean language, then that's good. Else, I don't recommend you to go for any course which is in Korean language or literature without any background knowledge.
Okay, there is one more question. Like someone asked me, I did my bachelor in 2018 and want to do master in 2022. There is a gap of 4 years. So so do I have to submit a gap reason, or is it okay just to apply? So who would like to answer? Jyoti, would you like to answer on that?
Yes,
Okay.
I can answer that. So is there a specific reason you took that gap? Were you working during that time? And if not, that is fine too. A gap year is not considered a bad thing on your profile, only if you can explain the gap year. So were you doing something extra? Were you at least part of something apart from academics? Like, how were you keeping yourself busy to show that you are a capable candidate to be a part of this scholarship? So you definitely have to explain why you had those 4 years of gap and what you did during those. But even if it was not academic, that's totally fine. That would not be a negative point on your profile.
Okay. Thank you. Let's take another question. There's one question. If we have a beginner certificate of Korean language and I show them, will I be asked questions in Korean during the interview? Who would answer on this?
No.
No, that will not ask. That
They
is
will
just for
only
your
ask in English.
extra activities. Yeah.
They will only ask in
Okay.
English. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, there's another question. Is GKS Scholarship a grade dependent scholarship program? I mean, for example, if an individual is selected for his master's undergraduate under GKS, what, let's say, is unable to secure desired grade in his first semester, then in that case, will the scholarship get cancelled or they get reduced the amount? Like, say, if a person is doing his master's and is unable to secure the required CGPA or whatever marks, will they cancel the GKS scholarship or will they reduce the amount? Who would answer on that?
Okay, I can answer.
Yeah.
First of all, they will give you warnings that you are getting this many warnings, so don't worry about that. And the second thing is, don't worry, you will be able to score well. Don't worry, they give you marks in Korea. It's not like India, so don't worry, you will be able to do well. Just study hard, and they will not reduce the amount of scholarship. But if you keep on failing, then probably they will say, okay, just we are stopping your scholarship. But it has never happened before, so don't worry.
0% chances.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add with respect to language school though. So during the language year, you would be required to clear the semester exams as well as secure the topic level, whatever is required by your university. And within 1 year, if you do not get that specific topic level, depending on the marks cutoff, they decide on that year, you would be allowed to extend for another 6 months. But that is very special case. Also, during those 6 months, extended 6 months, you have to pay half of the expenditure. So NIID would only be supporting you 50%. So that's just with respect to the language school.
Okay, thank you.
One thing I wanted to add, if you get level 5 while you're doing your language training, then or level 6, then you will be paid $100 more when you are in your master's. So basically GKS scholarship offers $900, but if you have a topic level 5 or 6, you will be offered $100 more. So that would make it 1 million Korean won. So study hard and get a level 5 or 6. That would be best for you.
Okay. So I think it's almost time. We must now end our session. There are a lot of questions, but because of the time constraint, we have to end the session. Any word of advice from any panelist would like to give to our aspirants? We'll give them 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. I would like to say, I would like to say all the best to everyone, because time is coming. So please be confident, do well, and make sure about your what application form filling the right, and SOP, personal statement, LOR. These things should be very clear. Then go for that. You will be definitely success. Thank you and all the best.
Okay. Any other panelists would like to give any final comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Okay. Bhakti,
yeah,
okay,
sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to say that focus on the personal statement, and I think you would be able to express yourself the most in that one piece of paper, and that can really make a huge difference on how they look at you as a candidate. So work on that the most, and all the best.
Bhakti, would you like to also
yes,
add something?
I would like to say, please check the deadlines, because the embassy deadline is really short. So you have to prepare all your documents very quickly, because the deadline is only like 20 to 25 days for the first round. So don't miss the deadlines, also the university deadlines. So make sure about.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to say all the best, everyone. You guys can do it. If you have any queries, you can ask any of the GKS scholars. They're really helpful. So just don't ask without doing a minimum research, because we are busy studying our Korean language. It's so hard. And the thing, you guys can do it. We know it because we did it also. That's all. Have a good day.
Okay, last but not
okay,
the least,
Swarnim.
I would like to mention.
I would give the floor to you.
So don't worry whether you will be able to do it or not. Just apply with total positivity. Even if you don't have more than 80%, just try. There's no harm in trying. So you can always try, submit your documents and go ahead. And don't worry so much about the documents, whether it's like I have submitted or no, because I know a person who did not even submit his provisional degree. So don't worry about that much. Don't be so conscious about it, whether I should print the form in black and white, or whether I should print it in color. Don't worry about such little details. Just take into consideration the points which have been mentioned in the guidelines. And that's it. And I think you will be able to do well, as we have been able to do. And one more thing, if you require SOP or person statement review, you can personally contact me. I am actually like officially offering this service. So you can get the details from the IOCK platform, and they will let you know about my email, and you can contact me. So that is what I wanted to mention, and good luck. Bye.
Thank you, Sarne. Now I think I would like to end the session. Thank you all the panelists and all the participants who have been part of this wonderful session. And if the aspirants, if you have any queries or any questions or any confusion, you need any help, please contact the panelists. They are very kind, very helpful. They will help you in every part, and you can ask them questions. Please be in contact with, you can be in contact with any one of them. They will help you and guide you. And that's all. Thank you for being part of this. I wish you all the best of luck for the GKS Scholarship, and I hope you make it successful and you make it to Korea. Thank you, everyone.
All the best, everyone.
Thank you,
Okay,
Adesha.
bye-bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.